My name is Simeon Desert, also known as Sam. My children's names are Sean, Samantha, Shyla, Selena, Simeon, and Solomon. Simeon the fourth. They were taken away 6 months prior to my incarceration. I was messing up. I was high on drugs and stuff like that, and never really. I was drowning my sorrows with by getting high and doing stupid things. But in October 23rd of 2009, that's when I decided to go sober. I got incarcerated 3 days later, October 26th.
I was given the case when the social worker was leaving, and I was, blessed with this case. So as I got the case, I started, meeting the different people, and I met the mom who, shortly after I got the case, got out of jail. And my first experience with the children, I think, had a really profound effect on me. I met them up at the pool, and they were having a visit up there, and there was 6 of the kids at the time, and it was just so touching, because the 2 older ones had taken the role of mom and dad, and they spread out a blanket on the lawn, and they got everybody together, and they made everybody wait. The little one had to go to the bathroom, so the sister took him up to the bathroom, and we all waited until they came back, and then they all sat down on the blanket, and they all held hands and said a prayer. And it just touched my heart so much. I said, oh my God, look at this family. You don't see families like this that much anymore, And I just saw how bonded they were, and it just moved something, and I really wanted to see this family stay together, and for these siblings to kind of stay in touch with each other. And then I was talking to the dad over the telephone. I got hold of the social worker at the jail at Halava, and we arranged to have communication over the phone, which turned out to be really an important part of the success of the case.
Allowing them to go to CPS, I took on personal to the point where I felt like I was a bad parent, to where my kids never deserved me. So I felt like I abandoned them. And then by having them come to visit me in the prison, and actually having them to say how they felt, because during that time I never saw them.
I felt really mad because we didn't all get to be in the same room.
At first I thought oh, why did they take me away from my parents? And I feel like okay. I felt like I was being stripped away, but in a way it helped to rebuild my family and make better decisions for my parents.
I was sad because I didn't see him for a very long time.
It's like being a different person.
I felt like I did something wrong, and then just got over the fact that it wasn't my fault.
I have to say, no matter what happened, with these 2 parents earlier on that got them involved in child welfare, there was some good parenting that went on, because this family had really good roots, and they were bonded together. So, and it shone through their children.
It felt like it honestly felt like if they weren't there. At first, I was upset, and then kind of lost.
Empty.
You know, when you get on one empty hole in your heart, that's the feeling I got. Like something big just left me. Like I lost something. But in this case, I knew I could get them back. I could correspond to Mel, but I didn't know CPS's phone number or address, so I just kept the faith that somebody gonna send me something. And sure enough, CPS did. A CPS worker, Sachio, she sent me a pamphlet. So with that said, I got the address to where I could send mail to and start writing to my kids.
And we were sending letters to him so that he could motivate himself. Yeah. Like, in order for him to focus on what he has to do to get us back, we motivate him with letters saying, we miss you, and come home, do what's right.
I was happy. I was very pleased to see that my kids never forgot about me. That was my turning point. I was getting tired already. I'm not being with my children. I found out, I had a gut feeling that they're gonna have something happening on Maui with my kids. So I sent a request in to my case manager, Loris Torikawa, up in Waialva. Then I found out that I could make a call. So I called Sachio. And that's when she said, oh, you know what, good you called, because we're having one court hearing coming up, but we wanted to talk to you. We didn't know how to get a hold of you or where you was, if you were at mainland or what. We need for talk.
So I was working with a mom a little bit, and then she messed up again and went back into jail. And right around that time, Dad was had started regular communication with me through the social worker, and I could tell from my first telephone call with him that this dad really wanted to make this work, and he was serious about it, and it wasn't just talk. You know, but Simeon was ready. He just was ready, and I knew that. I knew that about him, you know, and so I didn't lose faith in him, and he didn't lose faith in himself, and, you know, eventually that he got his kids back. It was a nice case to work on, and it's a wonderful family.
Her primary goal to me, the way I seen it, was her to reconnect the children with their real parents. You know, I guess their biological parents. And with that said, I remembered that. And so by her saying that the court want to terminate your parental rights, it's been almost 2 years, little over 2 years it took. But I still never lose the faith of the fact that my kids gonna get taken. They're my kids. So Sachio kind of played a big role in me getting back my children. She fought for me. She stood up for me in court. She asked the judge for one more try. And she said, I think this time, this guy got it. It taught me something there. That there wasn't out for me, there was for work for me. But my small goals was to get myself out first, which I did. The second goal was to get adequate housing, which I put myself in a shelter up here, the research center up in next to the prison. And like the request is to historic caller, Lois. I put in requests to call, because you gotta keep your name fresh on the list. Once a week you gotta call in, and she was able to, you know, approve my request every week. So this lady played a big part in my upbringing too, into getting my children back. Because it wasn't for her allowing me to call, these guys wouldn't get irritated by me, and they wouldn't have approved my bed. That's how I got out too, because I needed to get paroled to a safe environment, which the shelter was.
The foster mom told me that my dad got out. When the foster mom told my dad that he got out of prison, I was happy, and then she told me that we're going back home soon. And then I called my dad and I said thank you. And I called my social worker guys and said thank you, and my brother guys were happy too.
I was so happy that he came out, that I went to go visit him.
I would like to thank Satio for helping my dad step by step what he had to do to get us all back. Basically everyone that helped him inside that office. I mean, when my dad needed questions to be answered, he would go to the front desk or to the main lady, which is, I think, Eladine.
And that was really brave of him just to stick around and help us out.
It was a lot of teamwork with the foster parents. I ended up getting the 3 foster parents that were working with the kids to agree to take each of the other 2, take to all of the kids in their home for 1 weekend, right? And then the next weekend would be another foster parent would host the kids, and then the next weekend the other foster parent would host them, so that, you know, 2 weekends out of the month they wouldn't have any kids. 1 weekend they'd have all the kids, and then 1 weekend they would have just their kid. And so it worked out, you know, and they were willing to do that, and the kids got to see each other every weekend. You know, the parent educator, Elaine Kaho'ohanohano Schultz, worked with Simeon. And she was a major help to Simeon when he started getting the, you know, the kids back, because Simeon had never really been the active parent. He'd never really had to do all of that stuff that, you know, a mom has to do, like getting the kids up and getting their breakfast ready and making sure they have this and they've signed all their homework and they've, you know, getting picked up from this. And there's like 6 kids, you know, it's a lot. There's, you know, that's a big job for anyone to do. And so Simeon really relied on the help of his parent educator, Elaine. And she was like right there, a really good coach for him, and a support, you know, encouraging that he could do this. The therapist in this case, you know, played a major role in kind of keeping the kids kind of stable, because there was so much fear and concern that maybe they wouldn't get back together again, or then they'd almost get back together again, and then there'd be some bureaucratic problem where it couldn't happen and it was delayed, and you know, so and then just the problems of being in a foster home. But what was amazing to me about this family is that everybody got how special they were, and people really started to team up and work to help. I mean, this definitely wasn't just my work, this was everybody's work.
The hardest thing about this whole experience is that being in a foster home isn't the same, because it's like you're not with family. We're all together now, and that we're one big happy family, and that no matter where you are, your family will always be thinking about you. Just unifying all of us together, it just made me cry, because I finally get to be with all my brothers and sisters.
You know, this family should be honored, because they are a shining example of, you know, how people can change their lives, how, you know, to show other families that are in similar circumstances that they can overcome tremendous adversity, you know, and triumph as a family. And, you know, to change the lives of their children, you know, the fates of all of those kids. I mean, it would have been so different if these kids had been brought up in different homes, in different foster families. You know, it was a big moment. It was a real big moment. We were all so proud. I mean, everyone clapped, and you know, and I came back to my office and announced that the UU case was closed and with reunification. And I mean, the whole office had been following this family because it had made this incredible turnaround, you know, from just in the beginning really kind of looking doubtful that, you know, it was ever going to head for reunification, till like coming full circle around into a successful reunification. Everybody was so happy. It's like, you know, that their success is our success too, because that's what we work for in child welfare.